Hello, I am here with Lala Deheinzelin, and she is a futurist. She's somebody who studies the future, and she's also a specialist in the creative and collaborative economy. And it's a pleasure to be with you today, Lala. Thank you.
My pleasure, Patty, because we've been together in Brazil and I am so proud of your book and your work.
Oh, thank you. And I forgot
Glad to
to
be
mention
part of it.
that Lala is Brazilian, so she's a Brazilian specialist. So Lala, you are doing amazing work, and you created this thing called Fluxonomy, which in Portuguese is Fluxonomia. Can you tell us what this is and why it's such a powerful tool?
Yeah, well, it's a name I created to name a combination of things because I work with future studies, but future focused on desirable futures. Because we must be creative, as your book says. And in the new economies being creative, collaborative, sharing economy, and economy for the commons, an economy where resources are not only financial. But every time I had to explain this and say, well, I work with future and for new economies and always from the perspective of the flow of the process and not only the product. And then I found that it was easier to create a name. And because the name says a lot, it's fluxonomy, flow, flux, no? And then that is what we are interested in. The flow of life, the flow of resources, the flow of knowledge, because whenever there are things that are circulating, they're activated and they can generate positive results. And the onomy says that is a kind of science. And what is it? And why is it? The word is very precise that you used. It's a tool because what happens is that we are going through, it's not a crisis, it's a transition. And it is actually the biggest transition in the history of mankind because we are changing dimensions. Since we are all connected through the web, it's as if we have acquired one more dimension. We are not only 3D anymore because the web put us out of space and time, and the relationships are totally different in every point of view because the way we exchange knowledge, goods, the way we move, everything has changed. And the thing is that we are, since we are all connected, we are exponential. And this is a word that all of us are listening more and more, exponential. And we feel this exponentiality in our daily lives, in the amount of information, in the how very, very fast things are changing. But there is a huge problem. Technology and the web are exponential, but we, our body, our time, and our planet are not exponential. We are linear. So there is this gap. Things are moving in a dynamic that is exponential, and our dynamic is not exponential. So how can we close this gap? In one hand, we have this, we use this as a symbol because it's like yin and yang. It's because it's with two hands and two complementary aspects that we can do things. If we look at only one aspect, we won't. So one thing is the hard aspect, the tangible, and this managed to deal with exponentiality because it's technology. So technology already managed to converge. And as it is convergent, it allows us to have exponential results. But the other hand, it's not material. It's our relationships, is everything that is related to cultural and social issues. And the solution to gain and to acquire this exponentiality is collaboration. So
Okay, so on the
collaboration,
bottom it's tangible, And the top hand is intangible.
Yes, this is tangible technology, and this is intangible, and this is the human part, the how we connect, relate, etc. It's like a yin yang, no? This is, maybe you can show after. It's an image I love from Escher, an artist, because it's a hand that draws another hand. It's
Mm-hmm.
one thing that creates another.
Mm-hmm.
So only technology doesn't solve the question, because technology is a means and not a goal, and the goal is life, and life needs collaboration. Actually, life is collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
So collaboration is not a nice word that you say, oh yes, so cute, we need to collaborate. It's not a cute word, it's the only thing that can allow us to close this gap and to be exponential, and not to be so overwhelmed by this exponentiality we are merged in. Because then, if not, we are everything is too fast, too big, too I can't handle. And
Mm-hmm.
how can we handle this? Only together. So the 20th century was a century with the myth of the self-made man. No, alone. And the 21st century is together. Impossible to do anything alone. And so this togetherness requires tools, because we are not used to collaborate. So the tools, this set of tools is fluxonomy. And the first thing to collaborate is we need a common vision. Then this is the vision of the future. Then this vision of the future, we must um, be able to realize it. If not, it's just an utopia. And how can we realize, how can we materialize the dreams we want? Through the new economies. So creative economy, uh, my resources are not only money or tangible things, but everything that is non-material, my history, my values, and so on. Sharing economy, of course, because the way to exponent to have everything that is tangible in an exponential dynamic is through sharing. Then collaboration, which has to do with management. So if we collaborate and each of us do a little bit, then we can do huge things. And the fourth is the multi-value economy. But all these things, they are there. We have technology, we have resources, we have knowledge, we have many things. But the only way to have access to these things that are available, because there is a huge difference between available and accessible. And in the web and in these connected worlds, everything is available, but it's not accessible. And to access, I need tools. I need to be able to see these resources, and then fluxonomy is a set of lenses that allow us to see desirable futures, to see in 4 dimensions, to see resources that are not only money. And we must be able also to understand the processes in this new dynamic. And this is the goal of Fluxonomy. I created it because I had the privilege to work in whatever you can imagine, beginning in the cultural sector, and then big corporations and governments and NGOs and United Nations and so on. And I saw that the problem we have is that we can have a view of what is needed. We know the what, but we don't know the how. And so fluxonomy is about the hows, the how to do it, the process. And also we usually have analytical tools. But in a world that is like this, we cannot be analytical anymore, because then we will be like this. We must be synthetical. So it's a tool for synthesis. And it took us many years to come to the synthesis, and also the synthesis because usually the areas are working separately. So cultural people with cultural people, people related to environment are together, to money or to public management, each in their houses, let's say,
Yeah.
in their uh, and this doesn't work. We must be together. So that is fluxonomy. A little bit difficult to explain briefly, but it's a tool that it's like lenses. It's useful for anyone who wants to see things differently and wants to create exponential processes through collaboration.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and what kinds of organizations, who can use this? Is this for companies, for individuals? What kind of initiatives?
Who can wear lenses?
Okay.
Anyone. So we started with small groups that are related to innovation in new ways of teaching, new ways of dealing with children, all these change makers and professionals that are helping people in this transition. So coaches and advisors and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Now we are spreading and we are working with big corporations because everyone has this problem that they know the how. I mean, they know the what, but they don't know the how.
Mm-hmm.
So now, for instance, we are working with Natura, which is a huge cosmetic company in Brazil. But I designed this tool while I was working with governments.
Mm-hmm.
And my the last job I had while I was working for the UN was designing a national policy on how could we develop a country through creative and collaborative economy.
A
And
country.
it was Cape Verde, you know, an African country.
Okay.
And it was possible,
Mm-hmm.
but possible if there were people prepared to work with these new economies and the future vision and with tools. So after I did this from 2013 on, I stopped everything. I stopped traveling in working in many countries as I was doing in order to organize all this knowledge. And you know this.
Mm-hmm.
You were in my postgrad. It was very fortunate. This the first one.
The post-graduation program.
Yeah, the post graduation here in Brazil in
Mhm.
creative and collaborative economy.